with Terry Labonte, who is the newest member of the NASCAR Hall of Fame 2016. And certainly, Terry, your acceptance speech in there was extremely well received. And maybe just talk about particularly the line how you ended. I think was so appropriate that, you know, you've always been introduced as a two-time NASCAR champion. Now you can be introduced as a NASCAR Hall of Famer. And what does that mean to you?
Well, it means an awful lot, and I'll tell you what, you know, to be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame is certainly something I never anticipated or something I certainly never expected, and it's really quite an honor. When I look around in there and I see all the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and it's just an amazing group of guys that have done so much for our sport and accomplished so much, and it just, it really makes you feel awful fortunate to be able to be in the Hall of Fame with those guys.
All right, we'll take a few questions now for Terry. We have a wireless mic here. James Hallis has one. We'll start here with Wolfgang, and then we'll go to Kenny, and then to Bob.
Wolfgang Monse from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. Terry, you said, well, I have understood it correctly at your speech, you did some short circuit stuff and then went over to Hendrick. How was the technology at that time in Sprint Cup when you raced for Hendrick? Nowadays you have engineers for everything. Was it more down-to-earth team, or already you had the resources which you have nowadays, engineers, wind tunnel testing, and so on?
Well, you know, it's a fantastic team, an incredible operation, and you know, going to drive for them, they had a lot more tools to work with than some of the other teams that I've been with, and they were always kind of on the cutting edge as far as technology goes, and things like that. Of course, they had a lot of support from Chevrolet, so they had a lot of wind tunnel time and different ways to test things. So it was a real eye-opener, I think, when I went over there and got to see their facility and see everything that they had. Of course, it's nothing like it is today. It just continued to grow and advance, and they always stay right on the edge of the new technology.
We'll go right here to Kenny, and then we'll go to Bob, and then to Tom and John.
Kenny Bruce from NASCAR.com. Congratulations, Terry. I don't ever remember seeing you get very emotional, unless you were mad at somebody, on the racetrack, but it seemed like you were pretty emotional in there during your speech. What was that like?
Well, if I ever have to give another speech or anything like that, I'm not going to let my wife sit on the front row, because I looked at her and she was crying. And I looked at my mother and she was crying. I thought, oh God, I'm going to cry too. So, but I was like, oh God, I can't look at them no more. But I don't know. I wasn't anticipating that at all. And I was like, but you know, my family's very excited about it, and it's quite an honor to be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And of course, my parents really sacrificed an awful lot for what they did for me growing up. And then, you know, we've, you know, my wife and I have been to a lot of races together, and I think I ran 890 races. I think she's been to 800 of them. So it was, you know, it's a big deal for us, really, to be inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Let's go to Bob right there in the middle, and then we'll go to Tom, John, and the young lady in the back.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Did you think you were in trouble when you saw that you were following Bruton?
I knew that I was in trouble following Bruton. And I thought to myself, oh my God, he is hilarious. And, but yeah, and he's got so many great stories. And of course, he had, you know, he's done so much for our sport, and it's just amazing to see the facilities that he's built and everything. And he's always been a character. If you've ever been to any of his press events, you know, at any of his speedways. But yeah, I was like, how can you possibly follow this guy? So.
We'll go over here to the right, Terry, front, and then we'll go to John, young lady in the back, and we'll finish with Nate.
Hey, Terry, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Could you talk a little bit more about the A.J. Foyt story in the 77 Indy? Were you really that close to quitting?
Yeah, I wouldn't really, you know, say it was close to quitting, but I was going to have a conversation with my parents or with my dad, because I overheard him tell my mom that he went and borrowed some money to get my engine back together, and I guess to him it wasn't that big a deal, but I thought to myself, I mean, both my parents worked. It was, and we, naturally we did this for a hobby, just for a sport, did it for the fun of it. And I knew it was a financial burden on them because we were starting to race at different places. I mean, the places that we went and raced at, you had to buy like 8 new tires a night to be competitive, and so we'd buy 8 new tires a night, and so I was going to have a conversation with my dad, and I was like, hey, maybe we need to start doing something else that doesn't, maybe it costs as much, and I even thought about the possibility of having to get a job, and and it just so happened that was a Memorial Day weekend, and it was a true story. AJ won the 500, and he had was on the news, all the sports news that night, and I don't remember the question, that the reporter asked him, but I remember the answer, and it was almost like sitting there, and you go to church someday, and you think the preacher's talking about you. When I was sitting there, I thought, man, he's talking to me, and I just took it all in, and I said, well, and I never had that conversation with my dad, and it is so bizarre that. I know it was Tuesday or Wednesday that same week when I got the call from the track promoter at Houston, and the next Saturday night we met Billy Hagan, and he started sponsoring our car. And so it was just really, really incredible, really. Just one of those deals. I often wondered, I said, what would have happened if we would have gone to the race? And, if we wouldn't have had engine problems, would I ever got a chance to meet him or have this opportunity?
We'll go to John, we'll go to the young lady in the back, and we'll finish with Nate.
Yeah, John Sturban, RacingToday.com. Terry, you mentioned your rowdy fans are here. I'm wondering do you know how many fans made it from Corpus, and how's the honor being received back there in Texas?
Well, yeah, I've got a lot of fans down there, and I think about 25 of them came out here for this event, and they were all excited. I've had the reservations for I don't know how long, and I mean, just gosh, for whenever it was announced, that I was going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. So they got their rooms and reservations about a week after that. So it was really pretty cool that they all came out here for that. I'm just thank goodness they all came a day early because of the weather.
We'll go to.
I'm sorry? Oh, it's incredible. The Corpus Christi paper just did an incredible articles down there, and so it was very well done. And some friends of mine sent me some copies of it, and they did a very nice job on it. And I've got a lot of fans in Corpus down there, of course, and we go down there once a year and do a big charity event. And so we've got a lot of friends and fans down there. So, but anyways, it's pretty exciting because those people are really excited.
We'll go to the back row, and then we'll finish with Nate. Go ahead, ma'am.
Heather Williams, WCYB in Bristol. The picture of you sitting in Bristol wrecked is one of the iconic pictures as far as that track goes. I wonder if you could talk about that, maybe any other races to kind of stick out over your career.
Well, I think there's a lot of races that kind of stand out over your career, and definitely the probably 2 of them at Bristol do, that were came down to pretty exciting finishes there. One of them I came out on top, and one of them I didn't. And but I think the race that really means the most to me is the race that actually my brother won at Atlanta, and I won the championship that weekend, and that really is probably one of my most memorable weekends, I guess.
Finish right here in the middle with Nate. Go ahead.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Terry, you finished by saying being a 2-time champion is great, but it's going to be a whole lot better being introduced as a NASCAR Hall of Famer. I'm sure it's somewhat simplistic, but why does this honor mean so much? I mean, championships, wins, you're doing that on a racetrack. This is an honor you just get voted in. Why does this mean so much to you?
Man, it's just an honor to be, inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And you look at all the guys that have been in there and the accomplishments that they've had and the things that they've done. It's really quite a class to be with. When you think about guys like Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough and Bruton Smith, not all of them are drivers, but it's really it's pretty special being in the Hall of Fame. And I don't think it doesn't matter what career you're in or what sports you're in or whatever. You don't ever your goal is to never be in the Hall of Fame. You don't start and say, oh boy, I want to be in the Hall of Fame someday. It's something that when you look back and you kind of race from week to week and season to season, and you win some races, win some championships, and when it's all over and said and done with, and you're selected to be in to the Hall of Fame, then that's quite an accomplishment. But it's something that it's never a goal of yours, but it's something to be awful proud of.
Terry, thank you so much. Listen, congratulations on just a wonderful career in NASCAR, and this honor is much deserving, and we wish you all the best.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.